What's up, everybody? Time for some more rSpace. Girlfriend, 23 female, called me, 22 male, useless while in bed. My girlfriend and I have been together for a bit more than a year, and it has just been recently since we started having sex. Lately, she has been emotionally abusive and harsh to me, comparing me with my friends on body, muscles, similar things, shaming me for being skinny and having a smaller frame, etc. Just cruel, indirect body shaming, and I started having this gut feeling that this relationship would not last, or I would not stay. Anyway, I stayed, wishing things would change. My mistake. Until recently, when she was in the mood and initiated sex, we made out, I went down on her, and she wanted intercourse, but I cannot get an erection. I have no troubles getting erections on my own, or when I am mentally calm. It's that I have been so insecure, emotionally afraid, and anxious around her because of her comments and toxic behavior, and my anxiety would not let me get an erection. Next thing is, she wouldn't help or even touch me to help me. Her body language and expression said, "Be a man and get it up," even though she didn't say it. That's exactly what I read from her face. I kept on trying my best, touching myself, for around 10 minutes, and there was no chance of getting even a slight erection. My anxiety and insecurities were at its peak, and I just couldn't. And that's when she said, "You are useless, aren't you?" It's a phrase that sounds more rude and cruel in my own language. My heart shattered for a second, and I didn't know what to do. Next thing I did was end the relationship the very next day. She was trying to blame and manipulate me. She even begged me to stay. I had to block her, but I feel so good that I did. I feel proud of myself for taking that decision, even though this relationship gave me a lot of body insecurities and sexual insecurities, negative beliefs. I hope I'd move on from it someday. First reaction from CutiePie0023. So sorry you were treated like that. You don't deserve it. Good thing you broke up. Now you'll find someone who actually likes you for you. Don't rush it though. It'll hit you when you least expect it. Next thought coming from Bobonog. Congratulations on being a man and standing up for yourself. No one should ever have to be body shamed by those who claim to care for you. Life is short, and you made the right decision. Time to find someone who will stroke your ego, among other things. Next thought from AngTank71. Straight up good for you, man. You noticed the problem, assessed the situation, and got the F out when you felt necessary. Things people do and say can stick with us for a long time. And in other relationships, my advice to you is to realize she's just a crappy person all around and it wasn't your fault. You seem like you gave it plenty of effort. So try not to dwell on the crap she said and realize that there is a woman out there that's going to love you no matter what. Keep your head up, boss. On to the next story. My 28 female best friend cheated, and I know. Throw away and on mobile, sorry. My best friend cheated on her spouse with an old fling that has used and abused her from day one. She was never able to fully let him go, despite being in her current relationship for 3 years. A few months ago, she went over to his house, told her husband she was going to a friend's, and they ended up sleeping together. He, of course, ghosted her immediately, as is his MO. She was deeply hurt, but now is feeling great. She feels like she got the closure she needed from this guy and is moving on with her life. Planning her wedding, pandemic ruined their plans last year, and they had a very small event just to make things legal, in which I am her maid of honor. Here's the thing though, the guilt is eating me alive. My husband and I are very close with her and hers. And every time I see her husband, I feel terrible for knowing something like this and not telling him. My best friend absolutely refuses to tell him, as she knows this is the deal breaker and will leave her. Plus, will expose all the lies she told him about this particular person over the years. I know it's not my place to tell him, and she genuinely seems happier and like the relationship is going better now that she's gotten her closure. But I don't know how to swallow the guilt and stand by her and her husband as the maid of honor, knowing what I know. Edited to say, I appreciate everyone who took the time to share their own experiences and their insights, especially those who did so kindly. Thank you so very much. I believe most of you are right and that it is indeed my place to tell him, and I will be doing so. I feel pretty good about how I plan to approach it with both of them. Thanks again to many of these comments. Anyways, I'm exhausted after working a 12-hour day and having my very first Reddit post go 1.5 times bigger than I ever expected. So I'm off, but wanted to let you all know first. Good night. First reaction from WiseFool4. Seems to me that if and when her ex comes back, she will validate some excuse to again go see him. If it was the opposite way, her fiancé with an ex, then she would go ballistic. The guilt will continue to eat you well after the wedding, especially since you're the maid of honor. But do what you think is best and don't look back. Whatev88 chimes in. I've been in this situation before and I told them the truth. Yes, it ended my friendship with her, but keeping a friend with bad morals isn't worth sacrificing my own conscience. DOP responded, Thank you so much for sharing. You're right, it's better to not have friends than to have friends who treat those they love poorly. Can I ask if there were more consequences in your life after you told? My friend and I work in the same industry, and someone brought up the crazy revenge that can come from these situations. She'd literally be able to ruin my career if she wanted to. Next up, stepdad, 62 male, got drunk and made my 28 male girlfriend, 25 female, upset and uncomfortable at our Christmas gathering. I tried to talk to my mom, 60 female, about it, hoping she'd help, but now there's family drama. A little backstory. My stepdad is an alcoholic. I've dealt with that almost all my life. He's been with my mom since I was 3 years old. He's never been physically violent, but does often get verbally belligerent. He's very smart and has a kind heart, but when he's drunk, he tends to say inappropriate things and can't recognize social cues. Basically, he thinks he's helping or being genuine, but he's actually making whoever he's talking to very uncomfortable. Our family learned how to walk on eggshells because it was much easier to avoid his outbursts than call him out on the dumb crap he was preaching to us. So this happened on Christmas Eve. My parents had me and my girlfriend over for Christmas dinner out at their place. My brother and his girlfriend also joined us. His stepdad has been drinking heavily as of late, and he plans to quit in the new year, and is getting his last few days of hard drinking out of his system. He was sober for approximately 1 year prior to last summer, but slowly started snowballing over time back to his normal. Prior to heading out, I made my girlfriend aware that these things could possibly get a bit chaotic with him drinking, but did not expect him to act the way he did. This is not her first time meeting him, but she's never seen him fully intoxicated. The night starts out kind of somber, as my parents give condolences to my girlfriend, as her dog had to be put down 3 weeks ago. My girlfriend had her for 9 years, and her dog was basically her best friend. As such, she is still in the process of grieving and has been very sensitive about it. I thought this was a nice gesture, and thought that is where the subject would have ended. A small while later, while we were mingling, my stepdad, now absolutely balls deep into his cups, sees that my girlfriend is being kind of quiet and calls her out in front of everyone. She apologized and said she's just not feeling all that festive. All the rest of us nod understandably and continue mingling, but my dad comes over to my girlfriend and starts attempting to have one of those drunk heart-to-hearts. He asked her why she was so upset about her dog, then told her that she needs to let go and move forward from the loss instead of continuing to grieve, as that is, not letting go. My girlfriend tried to explain her connection to her dog and that it wasn't that long ago and that people grieve and heal differently, but my dad continued to tell her to let go. Then he started telling her stories of the past dogs in his life, which caused him to get emotional and begin tearing up. Hypocrisy at its finest. I feel very bad I wasn't more attentive to their conversation, as I would have put a stop to it if I realized he was making her upset, but I trusted him with her, so continued mingling. I learned later that my mom had witnessed this, was half listening, and mouthed, "Just ignore him," to my girlfriend during the conversation. A while later, I start to notice my girlfriend was becoming anxious. She has anxiety and displays a number of tells when she's going through it. Blank staring, very quiet, mumbled quick answers. I ask her what's wrong, and she quietly tells me she's frustrated about what my stepdad said to her. I try to comfort her as best I can in the moment, but the family is coming to play games. My stepdad is insistent on being my girlfriend's partner, but now knowing what is going on, I shut that down and say we are going to do couples. Games go okay. He pipes up with some of that verbal belligerence every once in a while, but everyone successfully ignores it. Near the end of the games, he got frustrated because he wanted to play cards, but everyone else wanted to finish the game of Pictionary. This makes him mad, and he gets up and leaves. My mom goes over to him and tells him he's acting childish and that he should not come back. This makes him madder, so he heads upstairs to his bedroom and slams the door shut. And I mean, he slammed it. The house shook. I could see my girlfriend visibly shudder. We finish the night without him and actually have some fun playing telestrations. My girlfriend actually laughs and seems to have a good time. As we finish up and head to bed, though she fully confesses to me that almost the entire night she's felt very uncomfortable. It started with her witnessing him pounding back drinks, worsened after their conversation about her dog, and escalated to fear when he got angry. She asked me if we were safe and if he would get violent. Words I never thought I'd hear my girlfriend say at a family get-together. We stayed the night and left early the next day without saying anything. The whole ride I listened to my girlfriend's concerns in more detail. My plan was to bring things up with my mother. She's always been the mediator, and I hoped she would understand my girlfriend's concerns and bring it up to my stepdad in a way that would not upset him, and make him understand her feelings and hopefully help him alter his behavior around her in the future. This did not happen though. I brought up my girlfriend's feelings to my mom, and my mom hard defended my stepdad's actions. She said things like, "He didn't mean the things he said like that," and "He would never intentionally hurt her," and "You know that's just how he is," and "He has a kind heart, his words just sometimes come out wrong," and "He wasn't even talking about her dog." I was taken by surprise and tried to convince her that no matter what his intentions were, he upset my girlfriend, and that I want him to apologize and adjust his behavior around her in the future. Personally, I've made many people upset in my life, and it is my understanding that even though sometimes I didn't intend to do it, I still did it. And the way to rectify those situations is by apologizing. This is where my mom doubled down and started calling me disrespectful to them, called my girlfriend oversensitive, and asked specifically if I was going to cut people out of my life every time my girlfriend got upset. So obviously, this got me heated and caused me to double down and further try to explain how I thought she was being irrational, not even taking the time to listen to my girlfriend's side, not caring that a guest in our house was made to feel unsafe, etc. Now my mom is very upset with me. My brother has been brought into this, but he's neutral. I told my girlfriend what my mom said, and now she's doubly upset to the point where she doesn't think she wants to see them at the moment. Just a real big kerfuffle. None of this has been brought up to my stepdad though. He's still in the dark about it. Reading back my messages, I definitely wasn't as standoffish as my mom was, but I definitely got mad at one point and started really using aggressive arguments to get my point across. My mom ended up ignoring them and said we will talk in the new year on the phone. She also wants to call my girlfriend and explain her defense of my stepdad to her. Are me and my girlfriend in the wrong? Did I handle this incorrectly? How would you handle this moving forward, or what is your advice? Personally, I'm stumped. It feels like I'm talking to a wall with my mom at the moment, and she is not budging. First reaction from Molly Rolls. The problem you're running into is that you've always thought of your mom as the mediator, when what she actually is the enabler. Her role is not to facilitate communication and compromise in both directions. It's to make sure your stepfather doesn't lose so much as the result of his addiction that he might be forced to consider giving it up. Her job, her whole job in the dynamic, is to prevent him from hitting rock bottom. So far, you've been sort of like her assistant. By going home for the holidays and bringing your girlfriend to meet your parents and playing games and walking on eggshells, you're helping to normalize his toxic behavior. You've been acting like he's someone who can have a normal, happy family to protect him from the reality that he isn't that person because your mom trained you to, and now you have a problem. Someone outside your family who doesn't know the rules is telling you that none of this is okay, and you turn to your mom expecting her to help, and whoops, she's not there to help you. She never was. She's not a mediator, she's your husband enabler. And when the demands of his addiction clash with the expectations of the outside world, she has to choose his addiction. Look up your local Al-Anon chapter. Odds are you can attend meetings online. Take a break from your family for a bit while you sort out who they are and who you want to be. Tell your girlfriend you need some time to process all this and you won't be visiting again until you do. And then do your homework and figure out what it all means. You may have been living with this for as long as you can remember, but this right here is the very beginning. Small sacrifice closes things out. So here's the thing. He's an alcoholic and he won't and can't change his behavior. Your mom is defending him, which is enabling, and you're expecting rational change from someone who is an addict and can't do that. You're also used to his behavior, which is actually very scary for anyone who hasn't grown up around abusive alcoholics. What you need to do is protect your girlfriend by not expecting her to be around him ever unless she chooses to. You can go by yourself or you can not go and be with her on the holidays instead. That's the only right way forward. Unless your mom stops excusing and enabling him or he gets sober, you cannot ever ask your girlfriend to be around him. My mother-in-law has a problem with alcohol. When she's drinking again, I don't go. Sometimes my husband does, but most often he doesn't. She said horrible things to me when drunk, and I just won't be around her.